Yo boys, part 2. What is up you guys? It's me, your girl, your Casey. How you doing? So I have a dilemma. I need to put some books into storage, so I have to raffle through my books and see what I gotta do. Which books are so brilliant enough for me to keep, or which ones I need to yeet into storage, or which ones are just so terrible that I've already read that I need to go ahead and just get rid of. This is part 2 because the first video was just super long, like I had an hour of raw footage to edit. So hey, 2 for 1 special, yay, content. We're now up by my black shelf. You know, like all those black spines, like, ooh, yeah, they look really nice. They look nice and dark and edgy, and I love that. But we also have down here what I call my nostalgia shelf, because these are like all the books that I read through middle school and high school. Like I got Percy Jackson, tons of Rick Riordan books, The Ranger's Apprentice, some of my favorite series I have not read in such a long time. When I'm feeling particularly nostalgic one day, I'm gonna have to bust these bad boys open again. But like I've said, I've read these a bajillion times. They are super old, super dusty, and super yellow. But I gotta put these guys in storage. I'll see them again in a few months though. Oh my gosh, like they're to that point they're so dusty, it's like solidifying. So storage pile. And then the Heroes of Olympus series, you know, like what happened after the events of Percy Jackson. I loved these 4 books, but I honestly cannot remember what happened in the Blood of Olympus, the last book. Due for a reread, but it's gotta go in storage. And the Egyptian version of I was about to say Harry Potter, of Percy Jackson, the Kane Chronicles. I remember when I first read the first book, I was maybe 12, and I was super confused. Like, I didn't understand anything that was happening, but I also remembered, like, freshly, that me and my friend who I was visiting bought these books at the exact same time, and I was trying to show off by always being ahead of him in our reading. So if he told me he was on page 90, and I was on page 87, I would skip to page 91 and be like, oh, I'm on page 91. That's why it wasn't making any sense to me. Younger Casey was an idiot. But I think I actually liked these more than I liked The Lost Heroes. No. That's not what I meant. That's the first book. I meant the Blood of Olympus, Heroes of Olympus series. There's so many Riordan series now. I don't know how to keep track of any of them, but I know how to keep track of them because I'm going to put them in a box and ship them off the storage where they'll never escape. Another nostalgia series. This is The Accidental Hero. It's about this boy. He lives in an orphanage, but then he realizes that the comic book characters that he's like looked up to all his life, they're actually real. And they live in the Imagine Space Nation. Imagine Nation. And they're coming to take him to their island. It's a good adventure. Again, I'm gonna have to reread this one day. But I don't have the shelf space for you right now, so you gotta go. It's not me, it's you. I think I meant that the other way, but also didn't. You're just too thick. I need space. Next up, the Ranger's Apprentice series. Like, you see this? All this? This is all the Ranger's Apprentice series. I got this one. I got the prequel series. I got the spin-off Brother Band series. All very good. They like helped spark my fantasy love. And I think the series is still ongoing. I just decided to stop reading them because, like, you know, I kind of realized these books are like, they're really episodic. They're very good. Like, I love the characters in these books. It's just that I need like an overarching narrative, not just like a adventure of the week sort of thing, but more like adventure of the year. You get my drift? But still, if you have like a little person, like a little baby human, a kid, I think that's what I'm trying to say, and you want them to get the love fantasy, give them this when they're around like 12 or 13. They'll love it. All of you, get off of my shelf. Yeet. I don't know why I started saying yeet like in every video, every day. I don't even think my parents know what yeet means, and I just keep saying it to them, even when I'm not yeeting things. I've become a yeet addict. It took me forever to decide to read the spin-off of The Ranger's Apprentice, the Brother Band Chronicles. Like, it took me years to actually like give these books a try, because these books take place in the land Scandia in the books, which is like a Viking nation. Viking means like a lot of ships. I do not like books revolving around ships. I just don't like them. It's really hard for me to see like the scenery in my brain and stuff like that. Probably because, hey, I've just never seen a pirate ship before. I don't know what I'm looking at. I'm currently reading Red Seas Under Red Skies right now, the second book in the Lives of Locke Lamora, and I love the book, but it's it's Red Seas Under Red Skies for a reason. We on a boat, and It's kind of actually hard for me to read because I don't know where we at. I just know on a boat, and I don't know any of the terms they're yelling at me. I just want to go back to dry land so I can play with Locke and John. I love those boys. Next up, we have some really dusty Star Wars books. Y'all, when I was like a preteen, I went through like the biggest Star Wars phase you'd ever seen a nerd go through. Like, oh my gosh, video games. I watched at least some of the scenes from like the original movies like every day. Like the Luke, I am your father scene, I watched that every day. Good memories. And this actually used to be my favorite book. It's the third movie just in book form, and I love it. It's so dusty though, oh my gosh. No wonder I have like breath issues. But as much as I did love these books, I think it's time for me to let them go. However, let's like step away from booktube for a moment and just like talk about how awesome these video games were. So much better than the newest Star Wars trilogy. Come at me, bro. Except Kylo Ren. We stand Kylo Ren in this house. I honestly don't remember if my first villain crush was Draco Malfoy or Darth Vader. The heart is saying Darth Vader. Next up, we have a couple books I haven't read yet, so I'm definitely keeping them with me on my shelves. I have The Alienist. I have no idea what this book is about. I've read the back of it a billion times, and I still can't remember what it's about, but I'm excited to read it because just look at that cover. That long, dark trench coat or cape. That's how I feel when I'm walking down the street in my trench coat, like, oh, I look like a woman of mystery. I bought this book thinking it was a standalone, but apparently it's the first of a series, so could be good, could be bad. I'm reading the back and it mentions a horribly mutilated body, so I am intrigued. The intrigued bone has been tickled. So keep. I also have the next two books in the, I was about to say Shatter Me series. This is not Shatter Me. This is the Caraval series. Oh, this book, the first book, Caraval, has caused me so much grief. I wasn't thrilled by it. I'm not intrigued by it. I don't actually want to read any more of it. Like, I read Caraval this month in February, and I think like it's very heavy on the sister bonds, and I'm sure it meant to come across as like heartwarming and stuff like that. But to me, their relationship was catty and manipulative, so I'm like, ugh. But I've heard, like, what the second book is about and how it's more, like, plot-oriented. Because the first book, I thought we were going to have, like, you know, magical competitions, because it's all about this whole island that's a carnival. And if you, like, get through the games and win the games at the carnival, you get a wish from Legend, the master of the circus. It wasn't anything interesting. It was just a giant scavenger hunt. But I think this one's like more about the whole world that they're in. I heard there's something about oracles in this book. Maybe. I hope that's the word. So I'm gonna try. So this is a reluctant keep. I also have the first two books of a Shadow, Bright, and Burning series. I've heard this is like an anti-chosen one book. Like, we have this girl, and well, everybody thinks she is the chosen one, but she's actually just a regular person who has to fake being the chosen one or she gonna die. I like the rose on fire. I like this dripping orchid looking thing. I am intrigued. So it's a keep. I just dropped it. I'm sorry. Okay, we have 2 shelves done already. It's time to move to this bad boy right here. Okay, we have one of my favorite book series ever, even though I haven't really finished the last book in the series yet, but I love the first 2 books, okay? Red Rising, imagine sci-fi, Hunger Games in space, medieval era. You're welcome, go read it. Literally, the characters, love them. Like, not one character in this book annoyed me. I get annoyed easily. So this one I'm going to keep on my shelf because I need to finish that last book, Morningstar. It's actually not the last book anymore because they pulled a Tahara Mafi with this. It was originally a trilogy, but then the author was like, I'm just going to add an extra 3 books now, you know, 80 years later. So I need to decide based on that last book if I'm going to continue with the rest of the series. So I got work to do. I'm keeping it. Name of the Wind. Actually, Wise Man Fear, the second book following Name of the Wind. I've had the urge to reread this book for so long. Oh my gosh. This book, the first book, I am begging for that final book to come out. What, has it been like 15 years? Please write the dang thing, but make it good. I don't want to rush you, but I am rushing you. Name of the Wind is one of my favorite fantasy series ever. I love Kavoth, that fiery redhead who thinks he's the best because he is the best. Ooh, him versus Kaladin. I might actually say Kavoth could beat Kaladin because Kaladin strikes me as like a close-up fighter. Kaladin from the Stormlight Archive, if you don't know who that is, he's a spearman. So he likes to get up close and just like jab ya. But Kavoth, that dude can get you like a mile away. You watch out for him. Those redheads, they get a little, yeah. I got a bunch of other books to read though, so I'm gonna slip this bad boy into storage just for a little tiny bit. Love you, sleep tight, my love. Vengeful, second book of the Vicious Duology. Now, the Vicious Duology was originally supposed to be a trilogy, but for whatever horribly conceived reason, the Ishwab decided to just chop down and make it a duology and stick some of the stuff from the third book into the second book. It's why I didn't give this book a 5 stars, because there was like towards the end sudden plot elements that just like came out of nowhere that you could tell was meant for a whole nother book. I still loved it. It was lots of fun. So it's going into storage for now. Twilight! Definitely storage. What's your opinions on Twilight? Tell me. I have no judgment. If you love it, you love it. You hate it, you hate it. You're indifferent, I get it. I'm like, if indifference was a 3 out of 5, then I'm like a 3.5 for Twilight. I feel like it's a book to write a passage to read this book, honestly. And I haven't read Midnight Sun yet. I need to. I'm going to. But until then, it's going in storage. And all the other Twilight books that are in this giant pile. Okay, I got the... What is this series called? I don't even know how many books are in this series, but I have the first 2. 3 Dark Crowns, you know. 3 sisters, only one can rule, so they have to like fight in a game to kill each other. I think that's what it's about. It's unread, so I'm keeping it in my keep pile. This Savage Song is by Victoria Schwab, who wrote your middle grade. And there's this cute little cinnamon roll named August who can devour your soul, but chooses not to. I love him. Lovely boy. Just mwah, love him. Definitely give this one a read. I'm going to put it in the storage pile because I've like already reread it like a billion times. I actually got rid of the sequel, Our Dark Duet, because I was like, this one's lame. Lame! August had his entire character wrecked over, but I will never get rid of the first book. It's Sweet Purity with Mr. August. Mwah, sleep tight, little prince. Unbecoming of Mara Dyer. Ugh, I didn't have this book because it was like, ooh, every shred of YA cringe imaginable. Just like the dialogue that was just so, stilted. And so Hallmarky, whatever that channel's called. And I actually, because I was deciding whether I wanted to like DNF it or not, I looked up the plot on like Google. I read through the entire synopsis and I'm like, oh, it actually doesn't sound like anything really happens in this book. So yeah, this is a get rid of. Okay, the Fallen series. I don't like those. But this is like my guilty pleasure read. It's like a spin-off because we have this moody guy named Cameron who exists in that series. And he has like, you know, this dark brooding past because he's our resident bad boy. And we get to learn about it in this book. And we also like meet the devil and it has like a deal with the devil type of thing and a competition and that's my jazz. So even though I hate the Fallen series, I love this book. I feel sleazy that I love this book. It's not anything bad. I'm just like embarrassed that I love it. We honestly need better angel demon books that aren't all about love. Sick of it. Fine book going in storage. There Will Come a Darkness. I don't know what this book is about. I get it confused with Wicked Saints all the time. Lovely map, by the way. I'm a big fan of books that have like a red, white, and black scheme. And I haven't read this book yet, so I'm just gonna have to keep it around for a while in the keep pile to see what the ruckus is about. I keep hearing this in Wicked Saints compared as a bootleg Six of Crows. I'm fond of Six of Crows, so I just might like bootlegs. We don't know yet. We will eventually. I will read this. The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. Now this fight here was a good shindig of a hoedown and a hootenanny. I like this book. It was very funny. I think I was going through like a really, like when I read this book, I'd been reading a lot of serious books before. So this one was like some good levity and like horror too. It's actually one of the first horror books I've read besides Imaginary Friend, which is up there. We'll see it really soon. But this one was like a kind of fun horror too. I recommend this if you want to like dip your toes into horror. But I'm also like now starting to remember some really chilling scenes. So maybe don't dip your toe. Just like the toe dipping water from far away and appreciate it. Do you want a bite of the bloody peach? It's delicious. Love it. Just going in the storage for right now. Oh yeah, Six of Crows. Lovely. Beautiful. There's only one thing I don't like about this whole book, the whole series, and it's a character who I can't even remember who his name is. What his name is. He didn't need to exist. Let's see. Wylan. That little thing. There's a reason Wylan is the only character out of our Six of Crows who doesn't have a point of view chapter in this entire book. He's awful. Bland. I don't care about him. However, the rest of the gang, beautiful. You'll love this book just for like, ooh, the heist and the found family. Ooh, Kaz. You'll love Kaz. You don't love Kaz, you'll see me in your closet tonight with a bubble wand. Oh, you don't think I could kill someone with a bubble wand? I know exactly how to. Six of Crows is about building bonds from the most unlikeliest circumstances, and I think it is a smashing read for you to pick up. I do believe you should read the Grisha books because it's set in the same universe as this one. You should read the Grisha trilogy before you read this. It's not necessary, but a lot of the magic and some characters from that previous trilogy makes an appearance. So I think in order to get like the complete picture and the total appreciation for what's going on in these books, you should read Grisha before Six of Crows. You hate on Kaz Brecker, I'm coming for your face. Ruin of Kings. This is one that I bought for my first line buy challenge. Like, I picked up some books and I read the first lines. This one is, tell me a story. And my first thought when I read that first line was, no, you're the book, tell me a story. It is unread, it's very high fantasy, so I'm excited to read it. I have so much fantasy I need to get into. I believe this book is about a pauper who has to like pretend he's a long lost prince because he's not here to save the kingdom, he's secretly here to destroy it from the inside out. So intriguing. So it's in the keep pile. But next up I have The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I love Donna Tartt's The Goldfinch. This one I tried to read, but I was high out of my mind on painkillers because of a root canal surgery when I tried to read this, so I had to DNF it. So I'm gonna like put this in the keep pile. I got Shadow of the Fox and Shadow of the Wolf. Not at all related, except they both say shadow. This one's about a kitsune and this regular dude they have to team up with. I think he's like a regular doom. A regular doom. All men are regular dooms. They'll break your heart. I wouldn't know. I've never had a boyfriend. But it's about this kitsune who has to team up with this other person in order to get a scroll, I think. Why do I feel some Inuyasha vibes from this? And Shadow of the Wolf is a Robin Hood retelling with werewolves, I think. I don't know how that's going to work out, but they're both unread, so I need to find out how these things work out. I think the kitsune wants to eat the guy she's teaming up liver. She wants to eat his liver. I might be misremembering this, but I think that's what's happening. The second and third books of the Maze Runner series. I attempted to read the Maze Runner this month, February. I DNF'd a lot in February. I'm going to explain it all why in my wrap up this month, but I just can't. So I'm getting rid of the whole series. Bye-bye. Shallow Grave. I read this book, but it's like a big blip in my mind. Just like, bloop, it's gone. It's like a censor bar. Like, yeah, a censor bar, a censor beep. Just, beep. I don't remember anything about this book. Except I remember thinking how it was like trying to set up like all this world building stuff. Like, it was just too much for such a short book. And it was like every other conversation was only there to info dump on us. So there was no character development, too much info dumping. It was like sensory overload. And I mean, it's not like it was even trying to set itself up for a whole series. It's a standalone. So honestly, I feel like a lot of that world building didn't really need to happen. So it's going bye-bye. Lastly, for that tall shelf up there, we have The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. I hate magical realism, but I liked this book. It was good. Kind of trippy, but good. I've actually seen... Do I want to get rid of this? I don't actually want to. I actually like this book. It's just that it's that mass market paperback thing. And I've been seeing like this illustrated version of this book at Barnes & Nobles and Books A Million. And I'm like, I like that. Because the illustrations look really shadowy and stuff like that. I really like the villain lady in this book. She really creeped me out. So I think I'm going to keep it. It's just going to go in storage for now. And as someone who really hates magical realism, I do think you should read this one. I also read Good Omens by Neil Gaiman. It had so much potential, but it ultimately didn't get me at the end. I had like, I'll talk about it more when I pull that book off the shelf. I have it somewhere. Anyways, next shelf. Okay, next shelf. We have starting off, I Know Who You Are by Alice Fitty. This was a thriller that had so much potential. I was loving it. I loved our main character. I loved everything that was happening. I had like so many theories going on about what was happening. And so I guessed the twist around like a page 140, but it was so outlandish and icky that I was like, nah, no, it couldn't be. It was. So it had a really nasty plot twist, which I don't recommend. And it was so sad because I was honestly loving this book. If you want to read it at your own peril. Like, our girl Amy had like a dark past. Like, there was a scene involving a gerbil and an air fryer and some chicken McNuggets. As I said, read at your peril. So yes, I like this book, but also rated M for So this is going in the get rid of pile. Following the thing. Okay, this goes for the whole series when I find it. I love this book. Okay, I Hunt Killers, first of a trilogy. It's about this boy who is the son of this notorious serial killer. Like, Billy Dent, the serial killer. Creepy heebie-jeebies. I loved him, but he was the worst human ever. Billy Dent is now in jail, so Jasper is like just trying to live his normal high school life with his girlfriend, but he's also been trained by the serial killer to think serial killer thoughts, so he's struggling with that too. And then, if that's not complicated enough, more killings are happening in his hometown, so our boy Jasper is going to have to get help from his serial killer daddy still in jail to solve the serial killing happening in the town again, in order to redeem Jasper's name as a serial killer's son. So the two best friend characters, the best friend and the girlfriend in this book, really annoyed me. Like, I hated them. But Jasper and Billy, gorgeous. Oh my gosh, the tension. So I really like this book. I really did. But I will talk about the sequels when I find them. So this one's going in storage right now. And I forget all the time that I have this book, The House of the Scorpion. I love this book, and I do an injustice to it every time I forget that I have it. So this book, it's in Mexico, okay? And we have this, like, piece of land called, opium, I think? You know, they do a lot of drugs there, I think. Oh, do they? Because they had this process of turning people into what they call idiots. And the idiots are, like...
The idiots in the book are, like they cannot think for themselves. You have to tell them what to do. So they make like the perfect servants.
I can't remember if they're drugged up or they did like an operation or something. But anyways, in this piece of land called opium, there's like this big boss guy. His name is El Patron. El Patron, he's an elderly guy. He's this gigantic crime boss lord guy. And in opium, it's common practice to clone a version of yourself so that when you're starting to die and your organs fail, you can harvest the organs of your clone. So our boy Matt, he is a clone of El Patron. However, unlike the other clones, which are kept like senseless and basically like animals, like no human thoughts at all, he's like a regular boy. He's like growing up in the mansion and stuff like that. But he had like the most inhuman beginnings. He was like grown from a petri dish and his like little embryo was shoved up into a cow. Really scientific stuff. And he was birthed from the cow. And so all these people in El Patron's palace, they're like, oh, dirty clone, get away. So Matt has no friends. I really like this book. Very interesting. There's a sequel to it that I have not read yet, and I need to remember to, because this was a really good book. Towards like the last third of the book, it takes like a complete plot change, and I was fine with it. I was still fine, but you should just probably be aware of it. Good book, just going in storage for now. House of Salt and Sorrows, recent buy. It is a retelling of the 12 Dancing Princesses. I've not read it yet, so it's going in the keep pile. It's a cover buy, like, gorgeous. Ooh, I can, like, taste the salt just looking at it. Sea salt, yum. Golden Sun, Red Rising, keeping it, because I need to finish that series. Hunger Games, pretty awesome series. I loved it. Oh my gosh. This book is so old, it's falling apart. This was, like, the first book gift anyone has ever given me, and it meant so much, and it still means so much. Love this series, just going in storage for now. Lies of Locke Lamora. I will never get rid of this book. I love it, except I will get rid of this book if I can find a version that isn't a mass market paper. Love it, reading the sequel to it right now, but it's going in storage. One of my favorite books, Imaginary Friend by Stephen Chbosky. It's a heavy boy. It's like 700 and something pages. Okay, fine, 600 and something. No, wait, 700 and something. So good, so spooky, so, devious. I loved it. I've been dying for a reread of this, so I'm gonna keep it on the keep shelf. I love you. You're nasty, but I love you. Never Let You Go, a thriller that I have very vague memories of. It was okay. It was good. It explores this woman's escape from her abusive husband, but it also tries to show that husband trying to get back into her life and ask for forgiveness and stuff like that. So really interesting. It was good too. It just didn't leave any, lasting impressions. A lot of thrillers like that are like that to me. So check it out. It's pretty interesting. Our girl was like, ooh, she made a flamethrower out of something. You should probably, you should read it. But I read it. I don't have the urge to reread it. So it's going in the get rid of pile. Glittering Court, the first 20 pages had our girl flirting with her cousin. So yay. It was a hard DNF. So I'm getting rid of it. Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager. My favorite thriller author. I have not read it yet, so it is a definite keep. Basically, it's about our main protagonist going back to this summer camp where 3 of her friends were either gruesomely murdered or had gone missing. And she's back for some reason, and she's starting to relive some memories, and she's starting to find cameras around the cabin she's been placed in. The same cabin that she and those girls had been sharing years and years ago. So anything that has a summer camp is instantly horror genre in my brain. So I'm keeping it and gotta read it. Love Riley Sager. Boom, the Brent Weeks Night Angels trilogy. Haven't read it. Know it's a lot about assassins. Super excited. I've heard that Brent Weeks has a really misogynistic writing style. I don't know if I can verify that without reading it yet. So I'll let you know when I do read it. Hopefully it's okay, because I love some assassin books and I want it to be hunky-dory. The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab, my girl. It was a fine dandy of a tale, but it was that was good. And you move on with your life. It has a Faustian deal with the devil. Addie wishes for immortality. However, the downside of that is that no one can remember her. You're talking to someone, they look away from you for a minute, they look back and oh, the heck were you? You were just talking to them. Wouldn't that infuriate you if you've been living for 300 years like Addie? We get to meet Addie, we get to meet the hunky little devil she did the deal with, we meet this guy named Henry who annoyed me, but I liked his deal. Very interesting. It's a good read, just pleasant. Didn't really strike me as anything interesting. It's basically a 300 page long date night. If you're into that, that's fine. But it's okay, it's going in storage. Infinite Sea, getting rid of this. I could not do with the 5th wave. The whole aliens plans were so stupid to me, so it's gone. New Moon, I refuse to get rid of any Twilight books, so it's staying with me forever, just in storage. My Cousin Rachel, which is written by the same author that wrote Rebecca, which is my favorite classic book of all time. Haven't read it yet. I need to, and I will one day. I'm interested to see if it carries on that same spooky, gothic, romantic feeling of Rebecca. It probably will. Excited, keeping it. Ooh, Name of the Wind. I remembered I put the sequel in storage. I'm regretting that. I really want to read it right now. Never mind. Okay, where's Wise Man's Fear at? It's coming with me. I want it right now. Crap, are you all the way down there somewhere? There it is, at the very bottom of the pile. I remember reading The Wise Man's Fear, and okay, what's the wise man's fear? And my brain was telling me, is it a woman? I feel like it's going to be oh, a wise man's fear. It's a woman. Funny. I was right, but I was also wrong. I like this book. I'm not going to tell you what a wise man's fear is. You need to figure that out for yourself, because it's a pretty good book. The second book, Wise Man's Fear, is kind of like a filler arc of an anime, but it was good filler, so I was enjoying myself. I got questions, Rothfuss. Finish the book. Anyways, that little tangent happened. I'm keeping these. Morning Star. I have not finished this book. I need to. I love Red Rising. Oh my gosh. Severo, whatever your name is. You're a hero. That's what you is. Middle Game. I like this book. I love the twins and how they're the incarnate forms of the universe, and it's 2 opposing halves. Arithmetic and reading. That's what these twins are versions of. They're the whole balance of the universe stuffed into hormonal teenagers, and it was awesome. Really good book. Super enjoyed it. It's just going to go in storage for a tad. We got one more shelf to do, and then we're finished, my boys. The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. One of my favorite sci-fis and mysteries. It's basically our boy, whose name I cannot recall. Actually, you're not supposed to recall his name, because he doesn't know his name either. He wakes up in this mansion. And he's been here before. He's actually been here tons of times because he's stuck in this time loop. He has a week to solve the murder of Evelyn Hardcastle If he doesn't, by the end of the week, he has to repeat the time loop all over again. And the fun little twist of this book is that every time he falls asleep, he wakes up in the body of a new person at the party at the mansion that Evelyn Hardcastle was murdered in. Very good. Very good twist on a mystery. I loved it. Good job. Just time to go to storage and sleep for a little bit. Fifth wave. I despise everything that you are. You're going bye-bye. The Family Upstairs by Lisa Jewell. I recently read a Lisa Jewell thriller. Was not impressed at all, but this one was on sale, and its cover looks edgy with a single purple flower. So I decided to give it a chance. It's unread, so I'm keeping it. Iona, the sequel to Eon, which I picked up in my last bookshelf unhaul video. Super nostalgic towards it. One of my first dragon books ever besides Aragon. Loved it. The love triangle in this, my jam. Good memories. Just time to put them in storage for a little bit. More Twilight, going in storage. The Darkest Minds. I could not stand our main girl. DNF'd it. Wasn't impressed. It's going bye-bye. Crooked Kingdom. Blessed sequel to Six of Crows. Perfectly lovely. Has some of my favorite Six of Crow, gang scenes in it. Especially with Cat. That sexy scene where, Inej is, changing his bandages. All in a flutter. Going in storage. The Diviners. I keep hearing about this book. I bought it, haven't read it yet. I just know it's in that jazzy 1920s era, and some stuff is going on. I don't really know, because it's very vague. Just supernatural stuff. Probably involving some flappers and some Great Gatsbys, I don't know. Keeping it. Dance of Thieves. I've been moving so many books. There's dust all in my nose. This is a sister book, companion series to the Kiss of Deception trilogy. Have not read those, but I've been told you can read this series without reading that series, so I am intrigued. It just seems like your typical book where your ragtag group of mischief sets off to achieve a certain goal. Could be fun, could be another Six of Crows ripoff. We don't know, but I will know one day. Keeping it to be read. The Girl on the Train. In the thriller community, all I hear about is this book. Oh, this book is like a blend of so-and-so and Girl on the Train. Girl on the Train, so good. So good. It wasn't. It's obvious who did it. No suspense at all. Our main character was infuriating because she was drunk all the time. So I couldn't trust what she was seeing and she kept blacking out. From a narrative point of view, I was not thrilled. I was infuriated. So this is going to be forgotten, shamooshed, yeeted. It's going bye-bye. Oh my gosh, another going bye-bye book, The Ghost Tree. So Christina Henry wrote Lost Boy, which is one of my favorite books, the Peter Pan retelling that's very dark and involved the senseless murders of 11-year-olds. Gorgeous. This one, oh my gosh. So Christina Henry, who I can say with fair enough certainty is a girl, she doesn't know how to write girl characters. Oh my gosh. This writing sounds like some crusty old man in his basement describing little girls. It's weird. Just nasty. No fun at all. It's going bye-bye. Good Omens. Yeah, it's time to talk about this one. So I was excited about this because, it was about this angel and a demon trying to stop the rapture from happening by kidnapping the Antichrist. Sounds so much fun. However, that angel and that demon are barely in the book. Instead of hanging out with them, we're in all these random side characters' point of views too. This witch hunter, this witch hunter's apprentice, a witch. I just think it had too many point of views for it to be actually enjoyable for me. If it was just us staying with the demon and the angel the whole time, I would have loved it so much more. And oh my gosh, the climax, where it's the four horsemen or angel and demon and the Antichrist and his crew, coming together, it wasn't fun. It was literally over like that. No action. Just boring. I'm getting rid of it. Also, I hate magical realism. So there's that. Ooh, my favorite book in the Darker Shade of Magic series. Mwah. Hello, gorgeous. I think got a little bit of lipstick on you. I'm sorry, but not sorry. You deserve all the kisses. So good. I love you, Osaron. I love you too, Holland. And you too, Cal. Oh, Rice. I hate Rice. Riss, whatever his name is. He's bland as rice. I said it. Anyways, going storage. The Chronicles of Narnia. My favorite Narnia book is The Silver Chair. I've heard rumors that it's going to be made into a movie and that they're working on the script. Great series. It's Narnia. Go read it. I'm not going to read it right now, so it's going in storage. Another Twilight book going in storage. Okay, so these are the two sequels to I Hunt Killers, the one with the son and the serial killer I was talking about. So this one I gave a 3 because Jazz and his father, again, were amazing. However, now, instead of just like having to deal with the annoying side characters on the side, now we're in their point of views too, and now they have their own little missions to do. It pulled away from the amazing main story that was happening and was just bad, but it ended beautifully, and this book began beautifully. Stunning, amazing, I loved it. Then it got weird, like ew, didn't need to happen. But again, I loved Billy Dent and his son, who's dealing with like a million mental things at the moment. So what I'm gonna do is that these books are going into storage right now, but then I'm gonna like reread them one more time, and then I'm gonna get rid of them. Cause like, yeah. Final Girls by Riley Sager. I believe this was Riley Sager's first book. It was good. Gave it like a 3.5. The writing style has definitely gotten better with each new book. And this one, it had a good like climax, but it wasn't so thrilling throughout the whole book. Like there wasn't really any clues to pick up really, but still enjoyable. Read it really recently, so it's going into storage. And lastly, I have one of my favorite like little, I call it middle grade, but I think it's young adult, but it reads like middle grade. One of my favorite middle grade series, the Escape from Furnace Shenanigans Saga. Love it. It's nothing deep, just a bunch of like young boys trying to escape from Furnace, the world's worst underground penitentiary. Very dark. Very nice. I loved every second. You should definitely read it if you just want to watch some mindless violence and explosions. Again, nothing deep. If I honestly tried, I think I could think of a ton of plot holes, but I don't want to. So, good series, good spooky villain at like the final book. Just gonna go in storage for now. And boys, that wraps it up. So let's see what we got. Okay, so we have all the books I'm going to keep right now on my beautiful shelves, followed by the horrible books I'm going to yeet into the dumpster. That means I'm going to donate them. And here are the warriors that have stood the test of Casey, but just need to hibernate in storage for a bit. So guys, that is it. I hope you enjoyed this kind of like bookshelf tour, as well as a savage unhaul. Now I need to go see if any of my friends want these books that I don't like, and I hope they don't ask if I like them, because then I'm going to give them a really savage, honest review. I just want them to take the books so I don't have to get rid of them myself. But I will donate a bunch of stuff to the library. Anyways, you stay ready, my friends.